Hello everyone, welcome to DevScoop. This is Pranit, your host for the video. Today in this video, I am going to show you how to install and set up Hadoop on your local system. Now this video assumes that you have some idea about what Hadoop is. To say in short, Hadoop is an Apache Open-Source framework written in Java for running applications on large clusters of commodity hardware and incorporates features similar to Google File System and MapReduce. Hadoop consists of two key components. One is HDFS or Hadoop Distributed File System, which is concerned with storage of datasets, and the other one is MapReduce, which is concerned with programming on those datasets. HDFS is a highly fault-tolerant distributed file system and is designed to be deployed on low-cost hardware. It is suitable for applications dealing with big data or large data sets. Now Hadoop can be run in three different modes. First is the standalone mode. This is the default mode of Hadoop. HDFS is not utilized, rather your local file system is used for input and output. This mode is used for debugging purposes and everything runs in a single JVM instance, where JVM stands for Java Virtual Machine. The second mode is Pseudo-Distributed mode, also known as single node cluster. In this mode, a small scale cluster environment is simulated on a single node or machine. Different Hadoop daemons run in different JVM instances, but on a single machine. HDFS is used instead of local file system, and this mode is used for development purposes. The third mode is fully distributed mode, also known as multi-node cluster. Here data is used and distributed across many nodes. Different daemons run on different nodes, and this mode is used for production purposes. In this video, I am going to show you how to install Hadoop in both standalone mode and also pseudo-distributed mode. To start off, Hadoop requires a Linux operating system installed on your machine. So if you don't have any Linux operating system installed on your machine, make sure you have it installed before you start installing and setting up Hadoop. If you are using any other operating system, you can install a virtual machine like VMware or VirtualBox and set up your Linux environment from a Linux image file. So once you do that, the next thing Hadoop requires is a working Java installation in your Linux operating system. So you have to make sure that you install Java on your Linux environment first. To install Java, you can open up your browser and then type in your browser or search bar download JDK and visit the first link, which is from oracle.com. Here you have to download JDK, that is the version available to you here 8U131. So click on this and this will take you to the downloads page. Accept the license here, and depending on what machine you are using, whether 32-bit machine or 64-bit, make sure you download the file ending with .tar.gz. So either this one or this one. So once you download that, you can simply copy it to, let me show you in Explorer. So open up or navigate to root, and then you want to go into user and then into library or lib, and here you want to make a folder named Java. So I already have Java set up here. So I have a folder named Java. You want to create this folder, and inside this folder just move the zip file you downloaded into this folder and extract it here and remove the zip file. Once you extract, you will get a folder like this. Your version might differ from mine, so nothing to worry about that, but you should have a JDK folder like this. and within this JDK folder you have bin folder, and within this bin folder we have Java C, Java, all these executable files. Now you won't be able to access Java C, Java straight away from the terminal, but let's not think about that. We will take care of setting up Java access from terminal while installing Hadoop. So let me close this browser, and now we want to open up a terminal. So you can open up a terminal directly by pressing Ctrl Alt T. So Ctrl Alt T, or you can open it up from here. So the first thing you would want to do is add a dedicated Hadoop user to isolate the Hadoop file system from your Unix file system. So the first thing I want to do is add a group. We can do so by typing in sudo add group and the name of the group. You can name it anything, just remember what you named. I will name it Hadoop group, and now it will prompt for password, so give your password. And the next thing you want to do is add a user which belongs to this newly created group. So you can do so by typing in sudo add user dash dash in group and the group name, so it will be Hadoop group in my case, and the username you want to give. So I will give Hadoop Pranit. So once you do that, it will prompt for password. So give your password, that is the new password you want to set, and retype again. It will prompt for information. I will keep it empty, you can fill it up. So press enter, again enter, and just type in Y. So that's it. A dedicated Hadoop user named Hadoop_Pranit in my case has been set up. And the next thing you want to do is give administrator privilege to this user. So you can do so by typing in sudo add user and the username, and again sudo. So it has added Hadoop_Pranit to group sudo. So now Hadoop requires SSH access to manage its nodes, where SSH stands for secure shell. So it requires this SSH access to manage its nodes in the cluster. For our single node setup of Hadoop, we need to configure SSH access to localhost. SSH allows passwordless login for Hadoop user from machine in the cluster. To achieve this, we need to generate a public or private key pair and share it across the cluster. Imagine yourself entering password to login in a cluster consisting of thousands of nodes or machines. You don't want to do that, right? That's why we need to set up SSH. We have to switch to our newly created user, that is switch our account. So you type in su and the username, give your password. So now we switched from Pranit to Hadoop_Pranit. So you can find it here. And the next thing you want to do is make this SSH key. But you won't have SSH installed. So if you don't have SSH installed, you need to do sudo apt-get install SSH to install the SSH. I already had it installed, so now we can do SSH keygen -t rsa -p space within double quote nothing. So this -p double quotes nothing means passwordless, so no password, empty password you can say, and press enter. So it will generate public private key RSA pair. It will prompt for a file name, just leave it blank, and it has created the key for us. Now we need to add this newly created key to the list of authorized keys. We can do so by typing in cat and then the path your home, that is, and this is .ssh means a hidden folder. So id underscore rsa dot pub, and I am appending it to the list of authorized keys. So authorized underscore keys. So now that is done, let's check if SSH works. We can do so by typing SSH localhost, type in yes. So it says permanently added localhost to the list of known hosts. So this was all pre-installation. So now we are going to move into installing Hadoop and setting it up for on our local machine. So again, open up your browser and just type in your search bar download Hadoop, and you want to click the first link, that is hadoop.apache.org releases, and don't download the alpha version. So here in this case we had 2.8.0 as the latest version for now. So for that version, click on the binary and just download from any of these provided mirrored site given here. So it recommends this. So click on this and save it wherever you want to. So by default it will save it in downloads folder. So make sure you remember where it is saved. You will need that path. So I will cancel it because I already have Hadoop 2.8.0 downloaded this file. So let's minimize this, and the next thing you want to do is move into that download location, to move into that folder where you have downloaded. So I will move into the downloads folder within my main account. So if I do ls now, it will show me the files that I have in this folder. So there is our file Hadoop 2.8.0 start.gz. So we want to extract this file. We can do so by the command sudo tar -xvzf. So xvzf and the file name Hadoop 2.8.0 tar.gz. Here X stands for extraction, so we are extracting this file. V stands for verbose output, so it will show all the steps while extracting in this terminal. Z means this is a compressed file, and F is nothing but signifying that this is a file. So once you type in this command, press enter, it will take some time because it's a large file. So now that it's extracted, let's check it by doing ls. So we have that Hadoop 2.8.0 folder. So now we need to make a directory under user under local. So I will show you in Explorer. So navigate to root and here under user and under local we will create a folder named Hadoop. So this will be the installation folder of Hadoop, and within this folder we have to move all the contents of that Hadoop 2.8.0. We can do so from the terminal, so let's close it. Let's first create that folder. So sudo mkdir -p /user /local / the folder name, in our case Hadoop. Press enter. So that created a folder for us. Now let's move that file. So rather move all the contents within this Hadoop 2.8.0 folder. So we can do so sudo mv, which is move, and the path to that source folder. So this is the source path. So remember where you have downloaded. So provide that full path, downloads, and Hadoop 2.8.0 asterisk. Here asterisk means all the files and folders within this Hadoop folder will be moved to our destination path. So we have to mention /user local /Hadoop /. So let's run this command. It will take some time. So it's done. The next thing we are going to do is transfer the ownership, that is change the ownership of that Hadoop folder to our current Hadoop user and our current Hadoop group. So we can do so by typing in sudo chown -r, which is nothing but recursive flag. So any subdirectories and files within these subdirectories, all the ownership will get transferred to our current Hadoop user, which is Hadoop_Pranit in my case. So the first parameter is user, so Hadoop_Pranit, your username, and the next parameter separated by colon is the group name, so Hadoop group, and this will be followed by the path, so path to that folder, so it is this path, and just press enter. So the ownership of this Hadoop folder now belongs to Hadoop_Pranit and Hadoop group. So we have completed the installation process. So now we have to set up Hadoop environment on our local system. So the first thing we need to do is set up Hadoop environment variables in .bashrc file. So let's move into our home, so which is this home of this current Hadoop user, and do ls -la, and here we have .bashrc file. So we need to edit this file, so we can do so by typing in sudo gedit and the file name. Okay, so there was a problem. It didn't allow me to open .bashrc file using gedit. So what I did was I closed the terminal and open up a new one, and then I switched back to Hadoop_Pranit, and again I cd'd into the home folder of Hadoop_Pranit, and then opened the bashrc file. So it prompted for password, and now it opened. So if you run into such problem, just close the terminal and just reopen it again. Okay, so in this file, what we need to do is go to the end of this file and we need to add few lines. So the first thing we want to do is set up our Java variables. So do export. By the way, this is a comment, so this will not be included. So export Java home. So we need to set our Java home, and that will be the path to where you install Java. So remember that path. In my case, it will be usually Java and JDK 1.8.0 underscore 131. So that is the path, and we need to add the bin folder to our existing system path. So if we do that, we can access Java C and Java commands from the terminal. So we need to do that. So export path, and we will be appending to the existing path. So existing path variable is this $path, and separate it by colon and then the path. So we, instead of writing this full path followed by /bin, we can do a shortcut here, nothing but the variable name we already set, that followed by /bin. So that will just expand to the whole path. Next, we need to set up Hadoop variables. So it will be export Hadoop home. This will be the path to where Hadoop has been installed. So remember, it has been installed in user local Hadoop. And add the bin folder of Hadoop and sbin folder to our path once again. So path, we can again write Hadoop home as shorthand followed by bin, separate it by colon, again Hadoop home /sbin this time. And that's it. If you are installing it for standalone mode, you are done with it. So Hadoop is installed and set up for standalone mode. You can just save this .bashrc file and just close it. You need to source this bashrc.file to make sure that these changes take effect immediately, and then you can just type Hadoop version to verify whether Hadoop is up and running. But we don't want it for just debugging purpose. We want more. We want to set up Hadoop for development purpose. So we need to add few more variables here. So just copy this line, or rather just write the first variable after this, that is Hadoop install, and this will be the same destination as Hadoop home. And now just copy this export line and just paste it 4 to 5 times, because the values will remain the same, that is Hadoop home, just the variable name will change. So this will be mapred home, mapred home, this will be common home, this will be HDFS home, this will be yarn home, and this will be Hadoop common native, so it will be Hadoop common leaf underscore native underscore dir, and this will be Hadoop home /leaf /native, and the last one is Hadoop options, that is OPTS, and the value is minus d java dot library dot path equals Hadoop home forward slash leave forward slash native and close the quotes. So that's it. These are all the variables you need for pseudo distributed mode. And now just save this file and close it. Ignore these warnings. And now you need to source this bash.rc file. So we can do this, or we can just put a dot and there should be a space between the file name and the dot. And let's just check our path. So echo and see, we have Java bin folder added to our path and Hadoop bin and Hadoop has been added to our path. Now if we do Hadoop version, so Hadoop is up and running, so we can access Hadoop commands now, but we need to edit some configuration file to properly set up Hadoop in pseudo distributed mode. So let's start with it. Let's just navigate to, we can write Hadoop home to shorten our URL, and this will be followed by etc followed by Hadoop again, and see it expanded the whole URL. And now if I do ls, these are all the configuration files you see, and the first one we need to edit is hadoop-env.sh. So let's do sudo gedit hadoop-env-.sh. This is the environment configuration file, and here the only thing you need to do is change this default Java home value. So we need to rewrite, and remember the path to Java home. So it's this. Your might differ if you had installed Java earlier and in a different way, but it should point to a JDK folder. That's it. And just save this file and exit. Remember, whatever value is provided in this Java home variable, when Hadoop starts, it will read this value. So any other place where you had set Java home value, this file will overwrite. So whatever value you provided here, this will be used by Hadoop as Java home. So this will overwrite all other system defaults. So now close it. And next we need to make base folder for other temporary directories. So for that we need to do sudo mkdir-p, and this will be under root. So new folder which is named app. This will be followed by Hadoop and followed by temp. So if we do so and open up the Explorer, navigate to root, so we will find our app folder within this Hadoop, within this temp. This is where all the temporary directories and files are stored by Hadoop while processing, and we need to transfer the ownership of this temp folder to our current Hadoop user. So remember, chown, first parameter is username followed by group name separated by colon obviously, and then space path to that directory which is app Hadoop temp. Now once that done, let's go back to editing more config files. So the next file we are going to edit is sudo gedit core site core-site.xml, core-site.xml. Now this core-site.xml contains configuration properties that Hadoop uses when starting up. This file can be used to override default settings that Hadoop starts with. So you see, we already have been provided with configuration tags. So whatever property you have to add to your configuration file, to this file, it should be under this configuration tab, that is within this tab. So the first property we need to add, and this is nothing but named as property. This is a tag named as property, and it is enclosed within two angular braces, and since you open this tag, you need to close this tag too. So closing will be / preceding the tag name, so in our case property. So this defines the property, and each property have a name and a value which you have to give. So a name, similarly like within angular braces, the name tag, and you have to close this name tag, and again there should be a value tag, and we have to close this opened value tag. So the property name we need to write here is hadoop.tmp.dir. This is just the temporary base for other temporary directories that we created. Remember the path app hadoop tmp. So the base for other temporary directories, that is the value. This is the first property. So again, when you need to add another property, you need to do this same thing all over again. So open another property tag within angular braces, close the property tag, open a name tag within property, close it, value tag, and close the value tag. And the next property name is fs.default.name. This is the name of default file system which Hadoop will use, and the location of this default file system is hdfs. So it will be within this value tag hdfs : / localhost 54310. Here localhost address and the port number 54310. So now we have edited this file. Let's save and close it. So this is all you need to do in core-site.xml. And the next file we are going to edit is maprate-site.xml. Now if we look again by doing ls, we do not have a maprate-site.xml, but fortunately by default this folder contains maprate-site.xml.template. So we have been provided with a template, and we just need to copy this template and rename it. So let's do that. Sudo cp maprate-site.xml.template, that is the source file name, and the destination file name will be maprate-site.xml. And if I do ls again, now we have a maprate-site.xml. Let's edit this file and add in our properties. Now this file is used to specify which framework to be used for MapReduce jobs. So there will be two property. Let's just lay out the framework. I'm just writing the structure now, and it will be same for each and every configuration file that you want to edit. And just copy this whole thing and paste it again, because we need to have two properties. And let's edit the first property. The first property name is maprate.jobtracker, and the value is localhost colon 54311. So this property defines the host and the port that MapReduce job tracker runs at. And the next property is the framework which we will use, that is MapReduce dot framework dot name. To run a MapReduce framework, or to run a MapReduce job on Yarn framework, we need to provide the value Yarn. And that's it. Just save and close the file. That's all you need to do in maprate site.xml. And the next file we are going to edit is sudo gedit hdfs-site.xml. Now this file is used to specify directories which will be used as name node and data node on the host. This file needs to be configured for each host in the cluster that is being used. So this will contain three properties, but before we add in the property, we need to create some directories. So let's close this file again. And to add some directories, we need to do sudo mkdir -p. This will be under user, under then local, then a new folder will be created named Hadoop store, and hdfs and name node. So this is the path to the name node folder which Hadoop will be using, and the next path to the folder will remain the same, except the folder name will be data node. So the parent path is almost the same, and we have created name node folder and data node folder and the path to it. Let's now change the ownership, that is transfer the ownership again. Sudo chown -r username colon group name, it will be Hadoop store. So all the subdirectories and the files that will be created later, their ownership will belong to this dedicated Hadoop user. So let's go back to editing our hdfs site.xml. And as I said, this will contain three properties. So let's lay out the structure once again. And the first property name is DFS replication. This will set the replication factor for your Hadoop setup, and this is the default block replication number that you will be providing here. For fully distributed mode, this may range to some very large numbers, depending on the number of slaves you are using. But for pseudo-distributed mode, that is where only one node is used, we need to set a value of 1. So remember, for pseudo-distributed mode, this will be a value of 1. So the next property, just copy this and paste it, and the property name will change, which is dfs dot name node dot name dot tar, and the path will be the path to the folder we just now created. So triple forward slash user local Hadoop store and the path to name node folder, and just copy this whole property, because just the name node will change to data node here, and obviously this will be data.dar, and the path to data node folder. So that's all you need to do in hdfs site.xml. Just save and close it again, and the last file we'll be editing is yarn site.xml. This you need to do only if you want to run a MapReduce job on Yarn. So this file will only then be edited. So once again, let's type in our property. This will contain only one property. And the name will be yarn.nodemanager.aux for auxiliary services, and the value will be MapReduce underscore shuffle. And once you have done, just save and close it. Now we have edited all the configuration files needed to be done. So now the Hadoop file system needs to be formatted so that we can use it. So remember to execute this command only once. So since we are doing the setup procedure, so we'll be executing this command only once at the time of setup, because if you run this command again at a later time, this will just format the entire HDFS file system. So any files and folder you have in your HDFS file system will get deleted. So before you execute this command, make sure you take a backup of your HDFS file system, move all those files and folders to local file system, and then format it. Otherwise you will lose all your data. So the command is hdfs name node. We will be using name node to format the HDFS file system. So hdfs name node dash format, just press enter, and it formatted and made the file system ready for us. So now let's start our single node cluster. For that we need to move into bin folder, so rather sbin folder. If I do ls here, you will find all the files, executable files that you need to run to stop and start a cluster. To start a cluster, you need to execute two files. There is also start all.sh here, but this one is deprecated, so we will use start dfs.sh. First, to start our name node and data node, and to start node manager and resource manager, just type in yes. To start node manager and resource manager, we need to execute the next command, that is run our next executable file, which is start-yarn.sh. So start.dfs.sh followed by start-yarn.sh. That's all start-all.sh is doing. So it started on name node, data node, node manager, and resource manager. These are all the daemons that you need to run before you do any job with MapReduce. So by typing in the command jps, so let's check if our Hadoop cluster is up and running. So jps here is Java process. So you need to have all these four processes, that is node manager, data node, resource manager, name node, and obviously jps should be running, and also the secondary name node. All these daemons should run. Then only you can confirm that your single node cluster is up and running and is working fine. So to stop the cluster, you need to again do stop, this time stop-dfs.sh followed by stop-yarn.sh. If you have any one of these data node and name node or both missing, then you need to stop-dfs.sh, run this command and again start the dfs sh file. So let's just stop yarn first. And if you find resource manager and node manager, these daemons are missing while you run the jps command, then you need to stop and start yarn. So let's just start it. So if I do jps again, we only have jps running. So let's start again by doing start dfs.sh. This is how you start and stop your single node cluster. Now Hadoop comes with several web interfaces. So if you open up your browser and go to this web address, which is localhost colon 50070, this is the web interface for name node. So you can find your name node details here. You can also find data nodes. You can browse through this. Also there's another address, which is localhost colon 8088. This is the web UI address for resource manager. So all the information about the machines in the cluster running will be provided here under resource manager web UI. And if you want to see the log files, need to go to localhost colon 50, that is 50090 /logs. So this is where all the log files will be listed. So that's how we can browse to the web interfaces Hadoop provides you. Now let's just close this browser and let's check the version again. So we type in Hadoop version and it's still working. So now you can execute Hadoop commands. Okay, one thing that I wanted to tell you is how would you run your Hadoop command. So if I do Hadoop version, that will give me the version. But what if I want to copy a file from my local file system into Hadoop file system? Or what if I try to see what's there in the Hadoop file system? Remember, we can do Hadoop fs, then dash ls. Remember, this is a deprecated command, so let's use something that you should be using, which is hdfs in place of Hadoop, and dfs. So in place of Hadoop fs, you can write hdfs dfs and still execute all those commands. You will not get that deprecated warning. And if I do ls, it says no such file or directory, because this command is not expanding into hdfs file system directory. So where is hdfs file system directory, and how we will check if there is any file or folder in that hdfs system? It's actually nothing. You have to do hdfs dfs once again and dash ls to list all the files and folders, and a forward slash. So this is path to Hadoop file system. So if I do ls, right now there is a new file.txt, because if, let me show you, let's navigate to Hadoop Pranit home folder. So under home, under Hadoop Pranit, here I created a empty new file.txt. This is in my local file system. So what I did is hdfs, then dfs, then either you can write copy from local or put whichever you want to write, both does the same work. So copy from local and the path to that file, which is new file.txt, and then if I write new file.txt again, that is the name of that file in hdfs file system, it won't work like that. I have to give a forward slash that will expand into hdfs localhost colon 54310. That's the destination, and under that, if I mention new file.txt, then it will just copy that file from local file system to hdfs. Let's try to make a directory here so things get clear. So minus mkdir and again forward slash. So remember to put forward slash before anything you want to do in hdfs file system. So now the folder name, so let's give it test, and it created a folder. So let's check it by writing hdfs dfs minus ls and forward slash. Without forward slash, it will show you that sort of error. And here you go, new file.txt and test. So whatever output you will be getting from MapReduce program, it will be listed here, and as a input to your MapReduce program, you have to copy the input file into this hdfs system. So everything will be listed here. That's what I wanted to clear out in case you got stuck about what the hell is hdfs file system and how can I access it. Remember, you cannot see the file system, so this is how you access the hdfs file system. So we have a working Hadoop installation on our system. Now you can straight away jump to MapReduce programming to carry out intensive computing tasks on big data sets to achieve desired results, which I will cover in the next videos. That's it for this video. If this video helped you, then do like and share it. Also do leave a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. So stay tuned for the next video. Till then, stay classy and goodbye.